everyone, and welcome to DefTalk, the talk show that focuses on everything World of Warcraft, whether it's classic, retail, or the players that play it. I'm Defcamp. I got that right this time. We have with us the beautiful and lovely Melderon. Say hi, Melderon.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a compliment. Thanks.
Yes, and our very special guest today, we have with us the one and only Hamsterwheel. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. We're really excited. Last we talked, I just want to get this out of the way now. So last we talked, we didn't have this news that we have today or yesterday, depending on when you guys are watching this. We just recently got some news that there was going to be a playable demo for those who buy the virtual ticket for BlizzCon. So that will definitely be something we're going to be talking about today, as well as who Hamster Wheel is. I'm sure you guys know he's been a classic WoW content creator for over 2 years now, right?
I think it's almost 4.
4 years. Wow, unbelievable. So you've definitely been there from the beginning. So I'm sure you guys know who Hamster Wheel is. So we'll just jump into it with the first question we like to start with everybody. When and how were you introduced to WoW?
I have a classic scenario of going to your friend's house and watching him play the hip new game that's out there. That's basically what happened. Before World of Warcraft, I never played any MMOs, so I was completely new to the concept. And one of my friends got this new game. I was 14 or probably 14. And I went over to his house and I saw him playing this game where you could make your own character. And he would show me like you can walk around everywhere. It's like, wait, there's not a fixed like alley you have to follow. It's like, no, you can walk around everywhere and you can attack any mob you want and everything. And he showed me this and I was just blown away by it. Because before retail World of Warcraft, I was still playing Command and Conquer, like the old RTS games. So I was completely new to this whole idea of MMOs. So obviously, once I saw that, I was in the game, and then I realized all of my other friends started playing it too. And then you're like, all right, well, I don't want to be the only friend that's not going to have the game, because then you're going to hang out with your friends and all talk about World of Warcraft, and then you're going to sit there not knowing what the hell they're talking about. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get the game too. And that's how it basically happened. It was very early on that I got the game. And, my very first character, well, not counting the character I made at my friend's house to check it out, the very first character I had was a Tarn Druid. It was, his name was Mariku, and it was on Dragon Maw, the original server, which was dubbed Lagan Maw for a good reason, because, during the early days, like, Blizzard expected to, I'm not sure what the numbers were, they expected like a couple of 100,000 people at best.
Yeah.
And they got over 1 million really fast. So they had like way too many people wanting to play the game and not enough servers. So it was just a bit of a shit show, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it was called Lagamon. And later on I moved to Frost. Well, basically that's how I got introduced to the game. So just friends.
So that's basically how we got introduced to friends. And when we first started playing, it was like, I mean, I'm sure you had a similar experience not playing any MMOs before. We were basically like chickens with our heads cut off, running around.
Absolutely.
Like, what do you do? And so did you get your guy to level 60? Did you do any end game content? I mean, what were you doing?
Okay, so my journey to level 60 was quite painful, because I remember getting to level 10, and then you got your talent tree, which I didn't think I discovered right away. I was like much later, like, oh, I have talents. Well, what did I do? I have no idea. But my friends told me, you got to go feral. You got to go feral for leveling, which is good advice. I was like, that's good. The only problem was because when I got to level 10, they were already like level 35, so they knew a little bit more than me, but still quite new. And they said, go feral, but you need to collect intellect and spirit gear. Really, what about it? No. Intellect and spirit, that's what you got to collect. So I was a feral druid rolling around with nothing but intellect and spirit gear. And then I was wondering why I didn't do any DPS and why it took so long to level. So that's how I leveled to level 60.
And what patch was this? Was this 1.1 or?
I'm assuming it's 1.1, but then again, I think it is. But I think the European version launched later than the American version, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was 1.1, maybe it was a little late, like 1.2, 1.3. Again, I don't know the exact dates when the US version launched compared to the European version. But yeah, I bought the European version very early on, and then I started leveling. I think it's very early on. That's
Well, at least you had a lot of mana. You had a big mana pool, and you were
Yeah,
regenerating.
Oh,
big
yeah.
mana pool, a lot of nice out of combat regeneration. So I'm sure you
exactly.
weren't, eating or anything like that, but you're probably, getting hit pretty hard, with basically no agility. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got like no dodge, and yeah,
You're
I
probably
can
wearing
imagine
cloth.
being,
Yeah, so that's
yeah, wearing cloth, getting
Yeah,
like
I was level 40. Like, holy crap! I'm getting a 400 Ravage crit. That's insane. Little did I know that was nothing.
Oh man,
It was like
it's not
that.
as bad as I've heard. A lot worse. We can talk about Melderon a little bit.
Yeah.
Going down in the prot tree, being the prot warrior who never grouped, and basically, being like prot in the world, like why am I doing no damage, but I'm not, and still getting hit pretty hard. Not wearing the right
Holy
gear, stuff
shit!
like that. So
yeah.
yeah, I
And
mean,
warriors have it hard already, and I'm like gimping myself even
Exactly.
more by like I need more armor. Yeah, shield specialization. That's good.
yeah,
And then I'm not using a two-hander, or like it's like what
yeah,
the hell am I doing?
yeah.
Yeah,
But did you get that character level 60 though?
I did, and then I deleted him.
Wow.
Because I'm
What?
an idiot. Yeah. So this is what happened. So I was
Yeah, okay,
so
deleted him.
angry that I was like so bad that I was like, fuck this character. I deleted him, and then I like re-rolled a mage, and then I was like fine because I was like
Yeah.
just blowing shit up, But yeah. But it was the stupidest thing I've ever done. And I actually got that warrior back years later. I actually emailed Blizz and or whatever, put in a ticket, and they actually restored him. But his name was Melderon, so that's how I got my name. But anyway, yeah, it was pretty stupid. But we all were doing dumb things back then. I mean, maybe not as dumb as what I did, but we were all doing it.
I'm trying to remember like what kind of stupid things I did. I know for a fact I definitely early on figured out, okay, like I was a rogue. My first character was a rogue. Agility was what I focused on, but I do remember my talent tree specifically being a mess. Like, a couple points in sub, a couple points in assassination, a couple points in combat, and just basically trying to pick out whatever I thought was cool. Oh, this is cool. They can, they won't see me in stealth when it has like no use in leveling. So it definitely wasn't as bad as Melderon's case. I think I had a little bit more common sense, maybe. I don't know.
But that was part of the charm, though. You didn't pick your talents because you knew from looking up I don't know, classic.db or whatever. That this was the pre-raid best in slot spec or whatever. You just picked the talents you thought were cool. That's how I quested. That's how I did damage and everything. I just used the abilities I thought were cool. I didn't think about DPS or whatever or anything like that. So that's part of the charm.
Yeah. So I mean, everyone I think had their own experience. Like that was definitely not what it is like today. You know what I mean? You go online, you can look up everything you need to look up.
Yep.
Very limited amount of information back then. You had ThoughtBot, but the main source of information was other people, really. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't inspect talent. So what's your talent point? This and that, and having I remember having like really long conversations with people just about and they would blow my mind. Like, oh yeah, you want to get a weapon that has a slower. I had no idea. Get a weapon that has a slower speed and things like that. I'm like, how do they know this? And getting like a little bit of information here and there, and then by the end of that, still nothing compared to what I. So it's like it's amazing how we had to learn things back then. But so you got to 60. What did you do after that?
I got to 60, and by that time, my friends were already raiding in a guild called Legio Excisio. And well, of course, I wanted to raid with them. So I got an invite, but I had to go resto, of course. Bummed out. But, that was the way to go. And to be fair, while leveling up, I was mostly just healing in dungeons. So I was kind of used to it anyway. And that's how I started. And I did Molten Core, I did Black Lair, Zul'Gurub, 20, AQ40. And we got to Twin M's on AQ40, and we didn't get any further than that. That's where we kind of hit a wall. And I believe that was also the time that NAC. So eventually we got stuck at Twin M's. We just kept doing AQ40 over and over again. We didn't get any further. And then we heard about this awesome new raid coming out next Rammet, focused on that. And then we did, we tried next Rammus, and we got, again, I'm not sure, this is it's 12 years ago, but we got a Noob Recon down and Instructor Azuvius. Those are two pretty easy bosses compared to the rest. Um, Patchwork, I'm not sure. I think we did that one too. That one was just such a giant gear check. So that was a real bitch for us. Not just because the mechanics were incredibly hard. You just needed to have the gear and all the
Right.
consumables and all the world buffs and everything. So it was such a grind getting all those consumables ready, especially if you're a resto druid with no dual spec and no spell damage gear. You now had to like get flasks of distilled wisdom and all that. Like, well, how do I do that? Well, you farm this or you farm gold. Well, how do I do that? I have 0 spell damage. Well, you're shit out of luck, dude.
Yeah, right.
Figure
You
it out.
better get a group together and have somebody help you from the guild.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So I went through all those raids, and I think it was during the AQ 40 progression that I started discovering balance. Because again, I leveled up to level 10. My friends told me just pick feral, so I didn't even look at balance, right to feral. And then when I started raiding, I had to go resto, so I never really paid attention to balance. But I was always intrigued by this idea of being a ranged DPS. That's why one of my first alts was mage. Played that, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Actually doing proper damage from a distance. And then when I got to a group, it's like, wow, I don't have to heal. I can actually do damage from a distance. And I realized like, oh, that's what I really like. And then I started to notice that druids had this one talent tree that was focused around that. But I had no idea how potent it was back then. I mean, I barely ever saw a balanced druid walking around. It was just barely there. And then this is like super ghetto, but this was during the time you didn't go to YouTube for PvP videos because YouTube wasn't around. No, you went to video.google.com to check out your PvP videos. That's where Unbreakable, the enhancement shaman, uploaded his first video. And I wish I could find that video. I'm not sure if it's deleted or can't find anymore, but there was one druid who really inspired me. It was a guy, it was a Tarn druid. It was a really long PvP video. It was like 40 minutes long. And he started out with like feral. He showed all the specs. He started out with feral, doing crazy ravage damage and all that stuff. Then he went to resto, and then he saved the best for last. He had balance. He didn't have great gear, but he had the. This was during the time you could pop 2 trinkets at the same time. The Xanlarn Hero Charm and the Talisman of whatever power from Molten Core. So he popped those, and I saw these insane like spell damage crits, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, I want to do that. That's what I want to do in World of Warcraft." And from there on out, I started looking more into the balance.
Wow.
So that's when the underdog dream.
And underdogs rating, as I say, and that the first episode you made was the
balance druid,
right?
Yeah.
So that's something near and dear, close to your heart, I guess, right?
Very close now, exactly. Because I didn't mind healing. It's just that it's not my real. It's not that it's just not what I like to do. That's why on so many other servers or so many other private servers, I tend to roll a mage. Or later expansions like Burning Crusade, I go Elemental Shaman resto, or I go Balance Druid resto. I'm just generally not that big of a fan of heat. So yeah, that's when the balance dream started, and ever since I discovered that, I just went back. So
how do you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I just one more thing I have to add. If anyone's watching from my old guild, I do apologize for being a balanced druid, but being healing in raids in Nax Rammus, because sorry, I just didn't want to respec. So at some point, I was a balanced druid with like
in Nax. You
exactly.
Balance in Nax. Wow, that's awesome, actually.
Yeah, because I didn't want to dish out the 50 gold to go back to resto and then go back to balance. So.
Oh man. So how do you feel when someone says balance is completely not viable? They have no place in raids. How does that make you feel?
I get super triggered. You have no.
Do you?
No. Here's the thing. Like, are balance routes viable? Yes, but viable is not optimal. That's the thing you need to remember. Yep. They will always be at the bottom of DPS charts, and they will never be. They'll never be number one. The thing is, it does work, but you have to put in way more time than anyone else. Like even the most basic raids, you have to have your flask, and you have to have a shitload of mana potions. And you're still going to be like at the middle of the DPS. But it's the thing with druids is they're a jack of all trades. They're not the master. That's why you'll never see a druid on top of the healing meter. It's usually dominated by like priests or maybe paladins. It's never druids. No. But that's because druids aren't about just healing or DPS or whatever. They're about the utility.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen private servers. I played on Vanilla Gaming. It was one a vanilla private server where they actually had a boomkin in their group, and they put it with 4 other fire mages. So 4 other fire mages now had 3% extra crit.
Yep.
So while the druid might not do great damage, all the other mages get 3% crit, and that in next damage where everyone's fire and they're doing their rolling ignite crits.
Exactly. That's a lot of damage. Just like the same as bringing a Shadow Priest. Our guild
Exactly.
right now, we have like 8 warlocks.
Yeah.
And it's still the 5 it's still the 8 debuff slots right now, but we're actually considering bringing like say like a holy weaving priest just to put those stacks of shadow weaving on there, because with 8 warlocks, like, you're doing more damage, just that buff right there, you're doing more damage than a whole player right there, just adding that buff. So you got to think about, wow, like, yeah, you're not going to be doing the most DPS, or maybe if not any at all, but you're adding more than a whole player's worth of DPS to the party, to the raid.
Exactly.
And that right there is huge.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of compare it to the ideal setup, at least in like Molten Core, where it can be a fireman. The ideal setup for your raid is to have, let's say you have 8 mages, you have 1 that is Winter Chill spec, just for that 10% crit buff, and then all the other mages are Arcane Frost. So the Arcane Frost mages will probably do more DPS than the Full Frost. So you're probably thinking, oh, that Full Frost mage is garbage, get him the fuck out of here. But no, he's actually providing 10%, and that's basically how more or less the druid works. They bring utility, they bring battle rests, they innervate, and all that other stuff. People don't really take into consideration because they're just so locked into those damage meters or healing meters. There's so much more than.
Yep. I have this conversation all the time when we're talking about, like, we got some priests in the guild, should they all go hero spec, where you're going down into, improved healing, all that. But, having a whole bunch of priests, especially in the beginning when a lot of the stall damage isn't, that strong, having, say, like 3 or 4 priests go into a power infusion spec, giving that power infusion to the mages is a huge boost to the DPS. And, that's something to think about a lot of time. Usually you're still doing decent amount of healing, you're still doing a good amount of heals, but adding that amount of DPS is huge. And it's something that, when you're crunching the numbers, you got to kind of look at. But I just love that idea of adding that utility, because a lot of people just look at the numbers. They see, this guy, you're doing shit DPS, what's the problem? And people can't get past that number, that, I got to do the top DPS, I got to do this. But I think it's really interesting. I know you yourself does. I know Melderon does. Bringing that utility to the raid, I think that is one of the coolest things about vanilla.
Yeah, and Orcbit's argument for elemental shamans with warlocks, increasing their DPS, because warlocks have an issue with threat. You bring an elemental shaman in there, you remove one of those warlocks in that group, put an elemental shaman in there, you put tranquil air down. Now the warlocks can go balls to the wall. So you can literally increase the warlock's damage using the elemental shaman. So it's a similar argument. So I do want to get into your content, and your Underdogs of Raiding series is one of the best. It's interesting because it's so outside of the box, because you're doing these things. First of all, you're already outside of the box, so you're talking about unviable raid specs, but then you're also going into the history of that in other expansions. Can you kind of remark about how you started with that, and what kind of how you were inspired to do that kind of series?
Man, well, the idea originally came from me wanting to make a video. It was actually the first idea I had was to make a video about the evolution of the balance spec, where I basically wanted to explain, like, okay, this was balance vanilla, this was C, but again, I only played. Again, I have only played on like vanilla, TBC, and I don't know anything about Cataclysm. I don't know anything about Miss Pandaria, or at least now I do get to play on Atari, but back then I didn't know, and I don't know anything about Worlds of Draenor. So if I wanted to do the evolution of the balance druid, I had to do all expansion. But again, I only know half the expansions about playing a balance druid and all these other specs. So it's like, that's not really going to be I'm not going to be able to do that justice, because I just know too little about that. So I narrowed my choice from vanilla to rap, and I noticed that was the era when all those underdog specs, from being a complete underdog, not viable, whatever, to actually being viable. during Wrath, everything was kind of balanced out to the point where at least every spec was viable that you could roll in raids. That was not a problem. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to focus on that, and I'm just going to call it the Underdogs. So that's basically. And of course, I started with balance. That's the closest one in my heart.
Yeah.
So that's how that series started. And I wasn't sure what to think of it because, again, I had no idea if people would like it. It was a total guess. But I really enjoyed making that project. No views and no likes. That's fine. I really enjoyed the project. And then I noticed like people really enjoyed it. It's like, all right, let me make episode 2, episode 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. Now we're up to the episode 9. So that's how it started.
Yeah, I think it's honestly it's one of my favorite really like overall things about Classic on YouTube. I mean, especially when I saw, Shadow Priest is something like near and dear to my heart. I saw that Shadow Priest episode, man. I was being a Shadow Priest. So I didn't make a priest until the Burning Crusade. But being a Shadow Priest in the Burning Crusade was like, to me, it was heaven. I loved it. I loved the idea of offering the fact, still doing like, I remember times where I out DPS mages. I put my freaking heart into it, but then also adding that amount of, giving all that mana back and like what you were doing, what your main job there was. I loved the idea of Shadow Priest. I loved Holy Priest in BC as well, but Shadow was just something that was like, I always, like, you call me whatever, edge, whatever they say about Shadow Priest, but you know what I mean? I loved it, man. I thought it was, I loved the rotation. I loved everything about it. And that episode, that Underdog Rating Shadow Priest episode, beautiful. I mean,
I love it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm. It's like, and when you talking about the evolution of the class, I think is really important because you see kind of what the mindset was in Blizzard. Maybe not the mindset, but where they were in vanilla with classes not being as much DPS, but they offer something else. You know what I mean? And,
you could see kind of what their intentions were.
Exactly, and even in BC, but then you kind of get to where Wrath, where Balance Druids were like insane DPS in Wrath. You know what I mean? I remember in ICC they were like topping the charts, man. They were doing some sick AOE damage, just like crazy damage. And I think they kind of like lost something there because they still offered a lot of these cool buffs and whatnot, but a lot of the classes started to get homogenized, and I think a lot of those classes started to lose what was special about them. What do you think about that?
I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, they here's the thing: as soon as you start really streamlining all the classes, they are going to lose part of their charm. I mean, that's the same argument I have for vanilla. People say, well, how can you like something that is that broken, quote unquote? Well, even the things I didn't like were part of the charm. Did I like having to walk from Undercity to Kargath the first time I wanted to raid Molten Core because I didn't have a flight path? No, I was on a 60% mount. It took me half an hour to get there. But now that I look back, I saw so many cool things that I would haven't seen if I just had a portal. And you saw Alliance walking there. And how cool must it have been to have been that level 27 dwarf in Wetlands, and you see a level 60 Tauren Druid walking by. Like that makes the world feel so alive. And yes, it was inconvenient, but it's part of the charm. It made the world feel alive. So
that's true.
I guess that's what I'm saying. As soon as you start streamlining everything, yes, it becomes more balanced, fair, but again, it loses part of the charm. And that's kind of what happened with Wrath too. These really quirky things kind of got removed because we got to kind of like balance everything.
Yeah. So. Well, remember, you could always pay a Warlock 5 gold to get summoned to Kargath too. So.
Oh yeah.
We always have like Warlock sitting there. We'll summon you to Kargath. It's like, oh, I want to take it, but I don't have the gold. It's just let me just run there.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you're absolutely right. It's
and again, that's one of those quirky things you mean. Like again, in Primal WoW, when we got all the world buffs, I'm assuming you guys know the Songflower buff in Felwood.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. We get it every time when we do them.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's a pain in the ass to go to if you're, I don't know, let's say you're standing in Orgrimmar. But me as a druid, I just teleport Moonglade and I get right to Felwood. There you go. See?
Get on your mount, stand on top of it, so nobody else can see it, and wait for your raid to get there.
Yeah, yeah. But going
gotta
back
have
to
a Tauren to stand on it.
Exactly. Going back to what you were just saying about the imperfectly imperfect is what I guess we can say WoW is. And I got a comment yesterday on a video that was it was unrelated. It was about John Stats. Anyway, it was about he said in our DefTalk, he literally said, "I wish LFG was in vanilla," and we both like, what the hell? But I just want to
Okay.
say something. People need to realize that there's a difference in perspective. If you're developing a game, you're
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
a parent, right? And every parent wants their kid to go to college, and every parent wants their kid to do
yeah,
this and that and this. So to a developer's mind, the game was unpolished. And when they
yep,
say that, and I think it's a natural evolution in games like this that they get more streamlined because the devs are so different from us. The perspective is so different, and like us as players, the imperfection is what made it epic, and that's what I
Yeah.
think and there's a disjunction between developers and players, and I think that we always forget that, and you just jogged my memory, and it was a comment that I got, and I just wanted to say that like I think unfortunately we have to make sure we put pressure on, not bad pressure, but the developers need to realize of Classic WoW is that it's like we don't want you to think it's polished. That's the problem. We don't want it
yeah.
polished,
Yeah.
and it's
I
like,
know they want
yeah,
to, but please just leave it unpolished. And I get the analogy you're making. You can compare it to a parent that would really like their son to get straight A's in school and go right to university. But the reality is he's going to mess up a few times in his life, you know? So
yeah,
that's just the nature of
yeah.
it.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad Classic WoW didn't go to college. I'm glad it went to a Votech and or it became it got street smart. Like Classic WoW is like the street smart kid, and then
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
exactly.
and then like Legion is like a kid who just finishes college and polished and has a good job. We like vanilla because it's not polished. We like vanilla because
Yeah.
it's not that like guy in college or whatever. It's a
And
normal everyday guy.
vanilla has this aspect of like game breaking almost to it. I mean, it's unpolished. It has these things where you can like hop on a little like in Dire Mall. You know what I mean? Dire Mall North. If you're doing a tribute run or whatever, you go in the front. You can kind of hop up on the ledge, mine sue the mobs, go around.
Yes.
These little things of like aspecting, like just like breaking the game a little bit. That
Yeah.
to some people would be like, oh, this is stupid. But in vanilla, it's like being able to do this little thing that maybe some people don't know about to get around this mob, or doing these little things, and that a lot of people have like those precious memories of doing those things, and it's almost like it has this game breaking character to it that people love. And honestly, I love. There's some things that yeah, are they like are they annoying, but like doing a 7D jump run, being able to bypass all of BRD to be able to go down to the Emperor and then do that, like these little game breaking things that I think are so uh, they're just so vanilla. You know what I mean? And like without that, it wouldn't be vanilla.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if have you ever heard of a mage called Fax Monkey? It was a troll mage. You can look him up. He was, what was it called again? That was like a stupid mage tricks. You can look it up on YouTube. The videos
Oh, I
back
think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
they were pretty popular, and he was basically showing. There was one point where he was soloing Rattlegore in Skolomat, and I was like, and he was basically doing this weird stuff with running up the stairs, and he would drop down this hole, which made Rattlegore like go back again, so he could like get some mana, and he just did that over and over and over again until he could kill him. Like that kind of stuff would probably not happen if the pathfinding was correct, and Rattlegore would just jump down.
Yeah.
But because he didn't, he got to solo Rattlegore, and I guess that's what you mean, like these cool little
Yeah.
things where
Yep.
is it an exploit? But it's like these cool tricks where you get the solo stuff. It's like that's part of the charm of vanilla, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Yeah, it's like mind control. Like, I'm sure Blizzard didn't think about people mind controlling people off the boats.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
like
Stuff like
Defcamp does
that.
all the time.
I do it all freaking time,
But
man.
it's classic, dude. Like, that's classic, man. Like, come on, you
Yeah.
can't change that. So
I'm pretty sure the developers looked at that spell like and then saw people mind controlling people off boats and were like, oh, what have we
Yeah.
done? Shit.
Or mind controlling elite mobs and clearing like parts of dungeons doing that. Like I soloed as an enchanter going into Uldaman. I would just mind control mobs and make my way to the enchanter trader in Uldaman, and like just like cool stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, but it's it's something that's just like it makes your class feel so much cooler. Being a mage, being able to solo the first boss and DM North and selling the gear and making money like that. Like these little things that you can do that really in no other expansion were you able to do stuff like that. And some people will say, oh, it's because the game wasn't really finished. It was this and that. But I love those aspects of the game. I really do.
Good. You bring up
Especially
a
when
good
your class is one of the classes that can do it. It makes your class feel that much cooler.
Yeah. You bring up a good point, by the way, about the enchanting trainer, because when you go to your capital city and you get your profession, you could train like a basic, like to level 75 or like whatever. But eventually, I'm sure the 225 to 300, those trainers were never in Orgrimmar or whatever. They were always scattered around the world, and that's another thing I really like. The enchanting trainer was indeed in Uldaman, so you had to get a group or make stealth if you're rogue. So you had to do all these extra things to get there. So it kind of felt it felt like a journey. And again, I was a druid, I was an enchanter, but I was a resto druid. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to run Uldaman. So what I did, I just said in general chat, I was like, hey, I'm going Uldaman. Does any like level 40 want to join me? And then I got to my enchanting trainer, and I got to like boost a couple of level 40s. So they really appreciate it. So again, it's adding to that social aspect, it's adding to that journey and to that uniqueness. Having to go to an actual place to learn something new, and that's what I really like.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so many different things, I think, and we talked about world buffs a lot. I don't know what your idea. I'm still like really because okay, so didn't come out. So right now, my guild, we've downed Ani, we've downed all of MC, waiting for BWL to come out, on Northdale, and
yeah, I was about to ask.
yes, yeah. So every raid, we go in there, we usually get our DM buffs first. We kill Ani, get our Ani head, get a Songflower, and then we just plow. Like we do Ani and MC all in one night now. Just plow through it, and it is cool in that idea. Like we're not progressing anymore. We're not wiping, so those buffs are lasting basically all through the night. The DM buffs usually go away after, but your Ani head buff, all that, and it really, the amount of DPS you do is insane. We're killing bosses in under a minute, 30 seconds. It's ridiculous. But we had Taladril on, who was really adamant about either increasing boss damage, say in MC, or just getting rid of world buffs altogether, like while doing that kind of content. But as someone like yourself who did Nax, you're doing patchwork, right? You guys were struggling doing patchwork with your world buffs, with all this stuff. What do you think about that?
Oh god, that's tough. First of all, let me add that when I was gaming, eventually I got to a private server where I started raiding Nax again because I got lucky, but they knew who I was, so I got in like, yeah, join us, it's fine, but I have no gear. Just come and join us. So what I'm trying to say is we did patchwork there, obviously, and it was with a group with guys like full tier 3 or almost full tier 3. So we weren't even in like pre-Nax gear. We were many people in Nax gear, and even then, with all the world buffs, patchwork was still a bitch to get down.
Yeah.
Even with that, even with the
crazy.
Nax, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, even with that gear and the world buffs, it was an absolute bitch. But it's really tough because when it comes to this topic, Blizzard really can't win because they can say, we're not going to change anything because the world buffs they were there in the game, so we're just going to leave them there. And then people are going to say, well, multi-core and all that isn't that hard. It's not challenging. I'm like, all right, that's a good point. But then again, if Blizzard starts buffing the HP, then you're going to have the 1.1 no changes guys going all crazy because that's not true Blizz-like. You're buffing the HP. There's like Blizzard can please everyone, so it all comes down to personal preference. Me, I don't know, man. Again,
it's hard, right? It's hard.
It's hard because again, the devs intended. It was the devs' intention to have those world buffs in the game. We were, that's you get your Onyxia head buff, you get your the Zandalorian buff. I forgot what it was called. All that. So that was intended to be there. But I'm not sure if they intended Zul'Gurub and all these other dungeons, other raids to be such a face roll with those dungeons in mind. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. Me,
I agree.
I can only speak for myself. I'd like it if they up the damage and the HP a little bit more, but just because of the challenge aspect,
right?
So
you can keep the world buffs if you up the damage or the armor, but then you have to think, oh, not everyone's going to get world buffs, so you have to. It's like a huge mess. So with the 1.12 talents, I don't know. I think that. I don't know. I think it's a necessary evil. I think they will buff MC Ani and BWL. I think they will. I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't. I just think they will.
The only problem that will give is that so you're buffing you're basically adjusting the boss world buffs. So now everyone has to get world buffs, because if you don't, it's going to get a lot harder if you do it without world. So what happens when your guild goes to Blackrock Mountain and everyone gets fucking killed by a group of Alliance people?
Exactly. And
then
that
you
happens
have no
a
world
lot.
buffs.
Yep. That happens a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times do you, or if you're progressing, say on a boss, those world
Yeah.
buffs are gone unless you have the ZG buffs, the only buff that lasts through death.
Yeah, exactly.
World
And
buff.
at that point, they're like, okay, can we even continue now? Is it even worth it? Because we don't have the
Yeah.
buffs. So
Well, I think they're gonna have that's a huge consideration. I mean, I don't think they can make it to the point where it's only doable if you have these world buffs. I think that because I can't say how many times we were going down the chain. Okay, let nobody jump. Let's be careful. Let's go down the chain, and then there's a huge alliance right there. 4 mages come out, arcane explosion, and wipe our entire raid.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's like there goes an hour worth of
Exactly.
getting DM buffs, getting this, and people are freaking out. And me and Talger were joking because it's because people like freak out when that kind of stuff happens. Or God forbid somebody there's those mobs in MC that kind of just hit you with those fire blasts and like one shot you if you don't have enough fire resistance on. We always say put your fire resistance gear on. We're gonna do the trash. And like people get one shot, like what the hell, heals? What are you doing? I just lost my buffs. Like dude, you got one shot. And people freak out. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like. I don't know, but
to play devil's advocate, don't you think you can clear it all without the world buffs, man?
Absolutely. But for sakes of now that we're getting everything done in one night, even though there's nothing else to do right now, you want to be able to have more time to raid. So you want to be able to do one night for say we're doing in the future one night for Ani and MC, the next night for BWL or for ZG. You know what I mean? So you want to be able to do everything on one night still on this hand so you can do stuff for the next night. So because in vanilla, it's not like in Wrath where, okay, you clear Nax, now you're doing, or in BC, so in Wrath, you clear Nax, it's time to do Old War. You cleared Old War, it's time to do this. So, it's not like that. In vanilla, you're doing MC every week, depending on who needs what. You're doing ZG every week. You're doing all these raids usually in that week. You're doing Ani to get the Ani head buff. So there's a lot more time invested in raiding in vanilla because you're doing a lot of these. Most guilds will do all those raids in that week. So there's that argument to it as well.
I'm still not 100% about this. Either they have to find a balance between, yes, we will buff things, but we will not make it so that you have to get world buffs, so that if you wipe or whatever, because world PvP's out there, that you can still do it. Or you could just say, no, we're just not going to change anything. And yes, MC and everything is a phase roll, but that's just the nature of you guys having min-maxed vanilla up the ad. That's what you guys get.
Yeah, I'm really interested. So we got some news. So depending on when this video comes out, guys, today is what? What's today's date? The 27th. 7th of September. Yesterday, we got some news about Blizzard releasing a demo for anyone who buys the virtual ticket to this year's BlizzCon. So if you buy the virtual ticket, you can download and play the demo of Classic. We don't know what that entails yet.
During the 1 week period that BlizzCon's happening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure people who are going to BlizzCon are going to be able to play the demo as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So, wow. I mean, this is huge news. This is a lot of people have been waiting for something like this. We were pretty sure that we were going to hear something about Classic at BlizzCon, but who knows how much we're going to be able to see of vanilla. I'm sure it's going to be, not much. It's a demo, so I'm not expecting to do.
They said 2 starting zones, 1 Horde, 1 Alliance. That's what they said.
So there you go. So we got starting zones. So we'll be able to see things like, graphics. Hopefully, we're not dealing with new character models, that kind of thing. What do you think about this, Hamsterwheel? I know you made a video today.
I expressed my concerns for that. People really didn't like it, but that's fine. Your own opinion, that's perfectly fine. Now, the problem I have with this is that Blizzard knows damn well that there's going to be people that want to buy the ticket just so they can play the demo. Yeah. So at that point, and that's my gripe with this. They're giving people no other option to play the demo but to pay the full $50 for things they might not even be interested. I mean, again, I'm not really interested in BlizzCon. I just want the demo. And I guess you can kind of compare it to going to Comcast. Like, hey, I want HBO. Oh, well, sure, you can get that. It's $60 a month. Wait, that much? Yeah, because if you get HBO, you get this channel and that channel and 149 Mexican-speaking TV channels.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want that. Well,
Yeah.
that's what you get. You either pay the $60 to get that one channel you want, or you get nothing. So
Fucking Comcast.
again, at the end of the day, I know Blizzard is a company. They can do whatever they want. They can charge people whatever they want, and if people still buy it, hey, that's the free market working. That's fine. But
Yeah.
I personally don't agree with that. I wish they would have. And again, I know what people are going to say. Like it's it's supposed to be extra for the fact that you're buying a virtual ticket. But that's just the problem. There's going to be many people that are going to buy that virtual ticket just to play that demo, and to then have to pay $50 to play that demo. I can't agree with that. I would have liked it if they would just made it separately, so you could buy the demo for $10. And hey, call me old-fashioned, but I remember a time and place where you got to download a demo for a game, for the new Need for Speed game, for free to check it out. Because,
that's true.
and I guess I'm just kind of still stuck in that mentality where it's a demo, it's a demonstration. You're, as a company, I imagine you want to demonstrate to as many people as possible. So why not give a little nugget to everyone? It's like a company giving away free samples of a new energy. You want to give it out to as many people possible to expand your market. So that's what I don't really get. But then again, Blizzard can do whatever the hell they want. So
yeah, and what we had a comment. I put out like a 2-minute video of like freaking out because I mean I'm a total nerd, so of course I'm gonna freak out about it. And like so, one of our commenters was like, I just paid $50 to play a game that I played for years on private servers, a demo for 1 week, and he went into but he said, I paid almost the full price of a whole game. And he's right, to play a week of a demo.
Yeah, I know. I
That's
didn't think about it
powerful.
I know.
And that's exactly what I mean. That guy did not pay the ticket because BlizzCon. No, he just paid it to play that demo, and to pay $50 for that. I'm sorry, I don't think it's good value for money, and that's why I'm not.
Yeah, and I have to say to anybody who's on the fence, like as a content creator, I bought it for my own personal reasons. We want to make videos about it. We want to analyze it. You guys, you will be able to watch so many friggin' streams and videos. Yeah. If you really don't need to get your hands on it, and I'm sorry, Blizz, don't buy the ticket. Like, you will have so much access to watching this. We're going to be recording it. Everyone's going to be recording it. You know what I mean? I mean,
streaming it if that's possible. I'm sure that we'll be able to do streaming it. So and that's the thing. Like, I really didn't think about any of this until I watched your video, Hamsterwheel. And I'm glad I did because I honestly do plan on watching BlizzCon on the day that we're going to hear something about Classic, hopefully, because I want to hear that. But I didn't buy a virtual ticket until I heard about the demo. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll probably do this. But now that the virtual ticket's available, it's like, okay, you're definitely doing it. And I was thinking about the same thing. Like, I have given Blizzard so much money over the years. I still have the active subscription, by the way. Still have an active subscription. That's been active for, I canceled it here and there, but I have given them so much money. I have given them so much time.
Yeah.
And I just paid $50 basically for a demo, like you said, of a game that I've already bought.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah,
so
but again,
in that sense, when you put it in that perspective, yeah, it's a little crazy. And I think when I think of Blizzard nowadays, like you can't just think of it how they were back in the day, because it's Activision Blizzard. But I guess my question is, like, if you trust Blizzard, do you trust Activision Blizzard? You know what I mean?
I don't trust any company. Sorry.
That's a good mentality. It's a very good mentality.
Trust is not simply given; it's earned. And again, any company, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So why should you give them your full trust? Yeah. Again, I guess I'm just a little skeptical. That's just how I am. I'm always raising questions, so to say. So yeah, I never trust companies. That's basically me.
That's very good. I guess I think I'm a little too trusting sometimes, but even if I did pay the $50, the way I look at it is, okay, now, I guess my mentality is a little like, okay, now I get the chance to talk about and look at all these things that I've been really concerned about, things like graphics and graphical updates and character models and things like that. And what I'm expecting to see, is something on the lines of it being a little bit sharper when it comes to like shadows,
like
texturing,
the
that
one
kind of
video
thing.
you saw, right?
Yeah, basically, so I'm hoping that it's nothing more than that. It's basically something I'm gonna be, and it gives me the ability to look at these things and analyze it and talk about it. But like
so
you said,
let me ask you a question. Do you think they will have a toggle feature for the graphic?
I hope. Well, toggle meaning like be able to make it either full classic looking, like how it was in classic, or these new enhanced.
Or just the WAD models, like the newer model.
Oh no! I don't think they're going to do that. Absolutely not. I don't think they're going to have new character. I think they're going to be the classic character models. I think they're going to be the classic animations. I think the textures are going to be a little bit more, on the sharper side, as well as the shadows. Maybe a little bit more on the draw distance. I really hope they don't mess too much with the draw distance, because I loved having that feeling that you were in this big world and you can only see so far, and there was that haze. And there was that, sense of, mystery, and you can only look so far where there was just haze, and you can't see, if you're in Ironforge, you can't see Black Rock Mountain. You know what I mean? If you're on the boat, at the dock of Darkshore in Aberdeen, you can't see Teldrassil. You know what I mean? And I like that because it makes the world feel a little bit bigger, more mysterious. So I do, if there is that option where you can have the draw distance, I would hope there would be some kind of toggle to where you can have it either way. I definitely do. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know.
Well, let me ask you another question. Because you've already bought your ticket, so of course you play the demo. What are you going to roll? Like what class? What?
I don't think they're gonna have all 9 classes available.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think either.
I don't know, man. I just don't see. I don't know. I think it's going to be only Orc and Human, because let's go back to Warcraft 1, Orcs and Humans. So it's going to be Orc and Human, and I think it's going to be like 5 classes or something like that.
I'd probably make a rogue. Just be able to, see. That was my first character. That I might even make a priest. I don't know, but honestly, I'm gonna level up, do as much exploration as I can, try to find anything different from what I'm used to. Private servers, and I've been playing on WoW's servers for so long, Kata, so the new world, that I don't really remember, like, if something isn't the way it is on the private server, is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this my memory? Like, is my memory wrong, or is the way the server is wrong? What's the right way? Did they do something different here? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. It really is.
So Hamster, what's your call and everything? What do you think is gonna happen?
You mean with the demo, or?
Sorry, with the demo. Yeah. What do you think they're gonna? So I think it's a loaded question. So what do you think is gonna happen with the demo, and that kind of evolves into what do you think is gonna classic WoW is gonna actually look like?
Man. So yeah, the demo. Oh man, I don't know. I said early on that they might release. I was kind of agreeing with you that they might release like only a limited amount of classes, but then again, I think they will have all classes open. Yeah. I think that's going to be the case. I do think it's just going to be 2 starting zones. I do think they're going to go Orc and Human. I'm not sure how they're going to do it though. Are they going to like put an invisible giant wall around everything, or is the other world just not out there yet? Like, because people are going to try and fly hack and do whatever the fuck they want on that that demo. There are people going to try and exploit the hell out of that shit.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So. Yeah, but I think Orc, Human, and I think they're going to have all classes available. And I think, a little later down the line, oh man, we're talking about predictions here. They might release a beta next year. And then, I wouldn't
next year?
A beta in 2019, you think?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe early 2019. And I wouldn't be surprised if all the people that bought a virtual ticket got beta as well. I think that... Man, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that would be a nice thing to do, considering about how much money we spent.
Yeah, exactly. That would make sense. That would be a nice gesture. And again, it's beta testing. You're basically, you're basically allowing people to test your stuff. It's like a sort of a QC department for your company, where people are actually going out there testing your stuff, doing your work. So I guess that would make sense.
So looking at that timeline that I'm sorry, real quick, you said probably have the demo and then the beta by early 2019. That would be ripe to probably have a release around November 2019, which happens to be
the anniversary.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean that could be very well true, or it could be even sooner than that, which some people have been speculating. I don't know. But I'm sorry, what were you about to say? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that you're 100% right. I'm thinking I'm guessing the retail version of Classic WoW will go live on the anniversary. That's basic. I think we'll see. We'll see if I'm right.
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible, but I think that's probably likely and that's logical. But I also think this is a different company that we've been used to in the past that kind of did those cool things about putting things out, and I think Activision wants this out immediately, and I think that
exactly.
I'm not saying it's not. So I think it's possible it could come out earlier. I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying that it's possible because of cha-ching. I think that's why. Personally,
exactly. I think what they're gonna do, they're gonna have those demo servers open. They're just gonna monitor how many people log in, how many gonna play, and based on that, they're gonna say, well, let's say they get loads and loads of people. I think it's fair to say that they will release Classic WoW quicker compared to they get less people than they expected.
Yeah,
I think because obviously if you're a company and you see so much demand, obviously you want to get it out as soon as possible before that demand starts to kind of die down.
Yeah.
I would love to see the numbers about how many tickets were bought yesterday.
I was just about to say that. I would love to see how many virtual tickets they sold.
And I would like to see how many tickets were sold versus how many tickets were sold to people that just wanted to play the demo.
Yeah, I know. Do a survey.
I wish there was a way to.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see. I'm curious to see how many people bought the ticket just for the demo compared to like a percentage base.
So the other thing I'm thinking of is now, okay, what else could they talk about at BlizzCon? So we have obviously Classic WoW, right? Now we got to remember this isn't just about WoW; it's about other Blizzard games. We have Diablo. We have Diablo could be a big top. Who knows? We have Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and
Overwatch.
The names are eluding me. So
Overwatch,
yeah. I don't know how much classic orientated this will be, but I'm hoping it'll be one of the main topics of this BlizzCon. So I am kind of glad I got the ticket. In that respect.
Oh, and way back in the corner, you're gonna have StarCraft 2, like right there. StarCraft.
Oh yeah. Don't forget about StarCraft.
The redheaded stepchild of Blizzard.
Exactly. Something about Warcraft 4. Who knows?
Apparently, I heard rumors that they're going to announce Diablo 4 this year. Is that true? Have you guys heard that too?
Yeah, I've heard rumors too.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that, honestly. I thought that was kind of soon for that, maybe. I honestly thought we were going to see. I don't know. I didn't think that it. For some reason, it seems kind of strange to me. But I guess maybe I'm wrong. I mean, how long has it been that Diablo's been out? Diablo 3's been out now.
It's like 5 years, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah, 2013, 2014. I really forgot. I haven't played it, so I.
Yeah, I played it when it originally came out.
Yeah.
What did you think
about it? Was good. It wasn't as magical as Diablo 2, but it was good.
No, Diablo 2 nothing will ever. I mean, Diablo 2 was amazing. I think for the time, that it came out, it was everything you wanted in a game like that. It really was. It was amazing, and I think Diablo 3 fell short of that. I think the timing when that game came out, Diablo 2, was perfect for what it was. And I think that the kind of mentality has gone away from games like that, more towards fast-paced kind of, fast-paced games, I guess. And that's, maybe we'll see something different with Diablo 4. I don't know. I'm really interested to see that if this is, if the rumors are true.
I have a question for Hamsterwheel. Do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think Classic WoW is going to become more popular than BFA?
Holy shit. That's a really good question. Oh, man. again, I would like to say like how many people are playing BFA right now, but they're not showing their sub numbers anymore.
And I'm hearing a lot of negative things about BFA. A lot.
Yeah,
Every content creator I see, like Bellular, Taliesin and Evitel, all those guys, like I see their I don't really
Thumbnails.
watch a lot of their videos, but the thumbnails are like, is this the end? Has BFA failed? Will 8.1 turn things around for BFA?
yeah,
A lot of people are disappointed with it, and you look at Legion and how it was very successful at the launch, from what I remember.
yeah.
The launch for Legion went pretty well. Pretty well. We're seeing basically the opposite with that right now in BFA, and I think Classic might be their saving grace.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a really good question. Well, if like, as you said, BFA right now not doing that well, I wouldn't be surprised if their sub numbers are going down drastically.
Yeah.
If that trend continues, I would not be surprised that at some point Classic WoW is going to overtake BFA. But then again, I'm not sure how Classic WoW is going to do. Maybe there's so many people that are super hyped for it, and that are finally going to play it, and after a week, I remember, oh yeah, it was that hard leveling. Pass. Oh right, BRD took me 8 hours. I can't do that anymore.
Oh my god.
Pass.
What
So
if
you
we
don't
log
know.
on? What if we log on the demo, right? And there's like quest helper, like like looking for group, tab
auto loot,
for
all these
Oh,
things.
auto loot, and like, what if? Oh my god, I can imagine the firestorm. Because I'm just thinking, like, what if they see the failure of BFA? And then this is all speculation, blah blah blah. What if they see the failure of BFA and they're trying to make Classic, still they're trying to keep at its core what it is, but trying to also integrate some quality of life changes to try to draw those people from BFA. This is very, dark thinking for me, but
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Pristine servers confirmed.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's literally just pristine servers with a different with different content. No, I don't think that's good. I think the shitty thing about it, if you think about it, if Classic does better than BFA, we're just gonna go through the whole evolution of WoW again. It's gonna just restart, and everyone's gonna bitch and complain every 5 months and say this is shit, and then it's gonna it's like, you ever see Battlestar Galactica? It's like, what has happened before will happen again. It's basically gonna be this whole time loop. That'd be weird. I don't know.
Oh my god! I know, Hamster, you are a huge fan of other expansions as well, right? You've done. I know you do a lot of Classic's private server. I guess that you call them ratings, like you rate them and stuff like that. Reviews. Not, my head is not screwed on right today. Is vanilla your favorite time in WoW, or do you prefer other expansions?
And I'd say that in terms of vanilla is the most charming, and it's probably the most memorable because I played that with my friend. Real quick, I quit on my own account before BC came out. This was right before. This was actually I quit at the patch called Before the Storm. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that patch.
Yeah.
Basically, when they implemented the new talent trees, and when you got honor points instead of
the rating
honor DK system, and that was also the time my guild completely broke apart, just because Nax was a bitch, and everyone discovered, oh my god, you can get rank 14 weapons while still wearing greens. Holy shit, let's do PvP. It was during that time. So that's when I quit on my own account. Then I played on someone else's accounts, kind of in the Burning Crusade, but I didn't really get to enjoy it with my friends. So vanilla, most charming, most memorable. But when I look at the expansions themselves, Burning Crusade is my number one. Simply for the fact that was the time we went from balance and all the other specs, Retribution Paladin and Elemental Shaman, all these weird kind of specs that nobody really wanted to have in your group because they had this horrible stigma attached to them. And again, even if they were viable, they could not really compete with the other DPSers. We went from that to finally being able to do good DPS and have good spell damage gear, all this stuff. So that really opened up so many doors for me. And in terms of questing, I thought it was great. You could get so many gear through questing as well. You weren't just chained to dungeons. And again, that's why I made so many gearing up guides for Burning Crusade, because you can just, if you know where to look, you can get some really good gear through quest. You had like gems, so you kind of like, it was the start of the little customization. Dungeons really cool. I thought Karazhan. Arena, exactly. Yeah. And Karazhan's still one of my favorite raids, because
absolutely
before Karazhan, every raid was this giant hallway with like, 100-foot high ceiling and everything. And then you got to Karazhan with all these cool little corridors and shit. And then you got to the opera event. You had like the harpsichord music. And I'm a total music geek, so I just fell in love with that.
Absolutely.
So I love that raid. And then you got the Tempest Keep and Storm Rage and all these.
Oh my god.
Burning Crusade characters, or like Warcraft character.
Yeah.
So to me, Burning Crusade is number 1, followed very closely by Vanilla, and then at number 3 you have. So that's.
I'm there with you 100%. Classic will always be near and dear to my. It's very, like you said, it's almost like that that first girlfriend you had. You know what I mean? Like, you will never forget her, right? It's that first girlfriend, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's like, then you have, maybe the girl, that you were, it's a fond memory. Like, you'll never forget it. It's that feeling of nostalgia, everything. But BC, I mean, it was just amazing. The amount of things you had to do, your rotation, everything was perfect. The mechanics, the lore, like everything about it, I loved. The Burning Crusade, I loved it.
I think
there were some negative things about it, like the old world became a lot smaller. Azeroth, you were basically stuck in the Outlands and this and that. But when it comes to raiding, when it comes to the actual gameplay, PvP was amazing. And I spent the most time playing that expansion as well. So I would have to rate it the same way.
Yeah. And for me, I think it's the most ominous one as well. When you walk through the Dark Portal, you're not walking into Elwyn Forest. You are immediately put into this dark, badass environment. It's like, in Vanilla, you don't get to see environments like that until you get to Searing Gorge, or you get but then you walk through the Dark Portal and it's like space, like a planet that's torn apart, like Fell Reavers walking around, and you're like,
look at the road of skeletons.
Exactly.
The road of skulls. The cool, exactly what you're saying. When you get through the Dark Portal, there's also this giant fight happening at the floor, like the ground or whatever, of this giant like pit lord and all these other mobs, and you're greeted by that. That's like, whoa! I was blown away the very first time. By the way, to come back to your point about the girlfriends, I like the analogy because Vanilla isn't your first girlfriend will always be a little bit more special than your third.
Yeah.
And I'd say Vanilla is your first girlfriend, and BC is your third. she's more pure, she's more financially stable.
Yeah.
But she's not as special as the first one.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
It's exactly right. And I think that I don't know where I stand on mine. I think it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like rating, what Star Wars movie is better. So for me, it's kind of like. It's a continuous story, and for me,
talking about 4, 5, and 6 here, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the original trilogy. So so for me, it's like Vanilla and TBC are so neck and neck because they so well complement each other. I mean, TBC kind of just said, sorry guys, this is what we were trying to do in Classic. You know what I mean? This is what we
exactly.
It was a more refined thing, but Classic will always be like, that's just
absolutely.
It's Classic. Like it's like the drunk uncle that everyone loves, you know what I mean? It's like this guy.
Exactly. It's like the drunk uncle. He's got a bit of a drinking problem. He has a cloudy eye, he says some weird shit when no one's in the room, when no one's talking to him. But he's got great stories, and he's such a character.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right, man. And then I just want to remark on so I just want to congratulate you. I think you definitely have the highest viewed Classic video ever. And you know which one I'm talking about. And that's the Nax one. Can you just dive, before we say goodbye, before we wrap up, can we just talk about that video for a little bit and how important it really is?
Sure. Man, it's actually one of my earlier videos. This was, I think it was, I might put it up right now, but it's fine. I think it was during the time where I was still very much making videos without any even commentary, even that. I was completely new to this whole commentary video style. So that was one of the first videos I did where I was basically talking about the history of WoW instead of just making a guide about gear. Like, here, this is where you go for that shoulder piece. So this was a whole new idea for me. So I had no idea how well it would do. I had absolutely no idea. I thought it would tank. I thought people would hate it because this was something completely new for me. They were used to the PvE footage stuff and maybe some guides on where to get. Completely new. And my inspiration for that video was just, walking around. Well, you go to any private server, go to any retail server where people are always bringing up what was the hardest raid, or like on 4 or whatever the fuck. And then people always bring up Nax 40. And then people say, this was the hardest raid. I'm like, no, you're not. You're wrong. Mythic Gul'dan was way harder. So I got inspiration for that. I was like, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to try my best to explain just how hard it was. So I started digging on the internet. And this was back in, again, very early on. I believe it was like 2014, 2015. I made that video. So there was very little information available about how it was in retail vanilla. I had my own memories, of course, but I wanted to get some numbers. So I started looking online, and it was really hard to find any numbers. I eventually got to a website that was, I believe it was Remote Champion, or a very old thread, posted some numbers. The numbers I brought up in that video of, there were this amount of US players on the server and stuff like that. So yeah, I eventually got the script together. I got some data together. I got some screenshots. I put my own screenshots in there because there are some screenshots in the video of me with my own druid, with my own guild, raiding Nextramus to show people, yes, I actually did Nextramus in vanilla. And then it went live. And the first got barely any views because, again, back then I had like a couple of subs. And then I got 10,000, and I was like, "Wow, that's a lot of views." And I got 50,000 and 100,000, and it just keeps on going up. It's crazy. And right now it's up to 1.6 million, 1.
Wow,
and that is crazy. And again, no other video has done that well. I have a few other videos that have like a couple of 100,000 views, but no other video is doing that well. So I guess it's a really popular topic for people. I guess people are just really intrigued by how hard Nextramus was.
yeah.
But that video it blew up, man. Amazing.
I think it is the fact that so many people have heard about Nax, vanilla Nax, and didn't get to experience it, and they want to know what's all the fuss about. You know what I mean? And it's weird though, because like me and Melderon always talk about this. Like, we don't understand how some of the videos that we are like, this video's crap, and then it gets like the most views, and you're like, I mean, your video is not crap at all, by the way. I'm just saying, like, how, like, when we look at our, this is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, boom, you got, like, 100,000 views on it. Well, not us. We have, like, 30,000 views on it. And we're like, why is this video doing so well? Exactly. I don't understand,
I had that feeling.
I don't know what the algorithm is or what, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't even think it was that great of a video in terms of, like, editing. Even I even made a video of me, like, commenting on that video where I point out the mistakes I made. I even said in that video, I don't know why, but I said in that video, a respec was max 60 gold, when I know damn well it was 50, but apparently I was too fucking lazy to change it, to edit it. So I made a lot of mistakes in that video too. So
yeah, like our most viewed video is literally me talking about how to save money for your mounts. And I didn't edit it at all. It's like lip smacking, like, you should probably put this in your bag. And it's like, and today I look at it and I'm like, I can't effing believe this is my most viewed friggin' video. And it's like, and everyone's like, oh, nice lip smacking, dude, or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, it's just like, I can't do anything right. Like,
look at my new videos; they're better, I promise.
Yeah, so I was like, well, maybe you should check out our new stuff, dude. I'm sorry, like, but. Yeah, it happens all the time, but it's just, you can't make... Everyone's a critic, as you know. Everyone's a critic.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is to be expected. I mean, YouTube, you're throwing yourself out there, so you should... that's one of my things when I talk to people doing YouTube. You should have a thick skin, because, you can get some pretty horrible thrown at you. But that's YouTube, that's the internet. If you don't like it, then don't make it.
Yeah, I mean, people... I think it has something to do with people, they just... They would never, imagine saying these things to someone in real life.
It's the anonymity.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the anonymity. It's the fact that you almost forget. You almost in your mind, you're like I don't know. I have to realize sometimes. Say to yourself, like, there's a human being on the other side of this. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
this isn't just just something that you put your thoughts out there. And I think if everyone had some sort of like. Say, every time you put a post, there was, like your address or something like that. Like, no one would talk any
Yeah.
smack. It would be like,
Right.
it would be interesting. But yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's the way
because
the internet is, and I think a lot of people, we've gotten really great criticism. I think there's a way to give criticism.
sure, yeah,
We've got a
absolutely.
lot of great fans who are able to tell us, hey, maybe try this next time, or maybe steer away from doing this. Then of
Yeah,
course you get the person who, and I think it gives people a sense of power to be able to do that, to talk to people like that, and say these kind of things. But when it comes down to it, you got to have a thick skin if you're planning
yeah,
on doing anything that comes on. You're basically pouring yourself into whatever work you're doing, and then you get, because you'll see 100 positive comments, and that one negative comment will be like, man, that one guy, he got
yeah,
to me. You know what I mean? It's just like you got to
yeah.
be
I mean,
able to have that thick skin, definitely.
sure, but at the end of the day, it all it takes is just one power button to click to go make all that go away. So
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
and that's different when you're working at. Again, I have a full-time job as well. Someone
Mhm.
comes up to me and they're pissed off. I can't like unplug them. I have to listen to them. I have to listen to
Yeah.
feedback. You have to deal with their bullshit.
Yeah.
So in that regard, you doing the whole YouTube thing, yeah, it's actually kind of
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
definitely.
like
So
people talking
any
about the
any
YouTuber burnout. Like I don't know what they're talking about.
oh
That's a
I
topic.
think I mean some people who like live stream every day, and live stream for like 12 hours plus a day. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah, but
Because
again, it's their decision to do it. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
everyone's responsibility to take care of your mental state. And if you
Yep.
let yourself get to that point where you feel burned out, then that's on you. That's your fault.
Yeah.
Don't pull the anxiety card or whatever. I don't buy that shit. You messed up. You take care of it.
Yeah, I think
So
there's
yeah,
definitely a way, people will often, more than, you see people, oh, I've got this. You have to have, whether it's playing WoW, whether it's doing this, you have to have, like Phil said in one of your videos, if you're leveling in game, you should be leveling in real life too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Always
I,
put time out for yourself. If you're doing raids, this and that, make sure you have time to, take your dog out, talk to your kid, do this
exactly.
and that. Like,
This
life's all about balance, man. That's what it's all about, right?
that's why I'm a druid.
There you
That's
So
right.
go.
That's right.
Balance druid, right?
That's right.
that's true.
So,
Oh,
Oh,
man.
that was really cheesy. Sorry about that.
No, that's a good one. So, any plans for the future? Anything you want to? What do you got coming down the pipe?
Well, I'm working on Underdogs of Rating episode 10. The problem right now is I haven't released any content for a bit. Right now, I have one. So I have the Underdogs of Rating in the works, episode 10. It's probably going to be the last one because I've been doing that series for almost like 8 months now. I want to focus. And I want to go out with a bang. That's going to be a really long episode, so it's going to be
Oh,
really
nice.
extensive. I've already told this, by the way, so I can tell this here. It's
Good.
about the Feral Druid, and I have a guy. I'm in this guild with my real life friends that I still upload videos with, and he used to play a Feral Druid in Wrath, but he's really good at it. So I want to get his part of his audio basic for the Wrath Lich part. But right now he's really busy with work, which I fully understand. So it's like, dude, don't worry about it. Take your time. We'll make the video when you have time to record and write the script. Because again, I'm not driven by pleasing YouTube's algorithm. I can this week or next. I really don't care. This for me, this is something I do for fun. It's a hobby, and the fact that I make money off it adds that. But anyway, that's coming down the pipelines. It's going to be amazing, great episode. I hope people are going to like it. So there's that coming up. I also have. I mean, I don't know if you've watched some of my videos. I have also boss fight footage videos up. I'm going to make one giant video for Fireland. Right now, I'm raiding on Hades WoW with my real life friends. We raided TBC. We did downrank WoW like Wrath, and now we're up to Cataclysm, so we're doing that. And I want to make a giant PvE video for that with music,
Nice,
the
dude.
actual dialogue from bosses and everything. And so it's got a big.
Awesome.
But the problem is we haven't killed Ragnaros, so I can't make that video either.
All the more
So-
reason to keep raiding, man. That's
Exactly. So we're
yeah.
getting close. We're getting closer and closer. So
Nice.
we're actually down. We actually got all the other bosses down. We got him down. So we're slowly but surely learning.
Rag was tough in Firelands, man.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And especially because none of us have played Cataclysm before. This is all new to us. We
Mm.
really have to learn. So that's coming down the.
Yeah,
That's
I killed him
coming
in Kata. It was a fun fight. I think it was after the nerf though, because he was like he was insane at first, and then I think he got nerfed. I forget, but it was a.
Okay.
I love the Firelands. I think it's a great raid. The bosses in there, and I love the spider boss where you have to go up on the top.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
Love
Real
that
cool
one.
stuff. Yeah.
Great. So there's that, and I have a new series up. You know what? I'm gonna give you guys a sneak preview here, exclusive.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Remember, you heard it here first.
Yeah, never seen before, never heard before. Now I'm working on a new series. It's called the Quests of Classic WoW. So it's basically going to be more story driven than just a simple guide. But what I'm planning to do for that, I have one quest that I've recorded the footage, and I want to basically have. I'm also going to read out the quest, but it would be really cool if I would have to say at some point talk to a female and have a female voice act.
Yeah.
That'd be
That would
awesome, dude.
really, yeah, exactly. But that means finding someone that is willing to do it for free, because I can't really pay any. Again, it's just a hobby. I don't want to.
I'm willing to do some voice acting for you.
Okay, cool. I'll be sure to remember that, because it would be really cool to start using, like, let's say you have to talk to 4 different people for one quest. Have 4 different people with a different voice. I mean, that would be really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
But again, that's very time consuming to get all the people together, and again, that's just but it's going to be a really fun project. But again, it's gonna take. So those are the 3 projects now, and you'll see them soon. There you go. Exclusive preview.
Exclusive on DefTalk.
I'm very happy. I'm very looking forward to that, because I'm a huge lore nut and a huge quest nut. So that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great having you on, dude. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll give you a little spoiler. It's a quest that starts in the
Arathi Highlands.
Oh, in the Arathi Highlands.
Is it a class-specific quest, or?
Oh, it's the Misrael quest.
I can't say anything about that.
He can't say so.
Yeah.
Let's not.
My guess is the Misrael quest line, but I won't.
I'm gonna guess the warrior quest line. The one for the what's the axe name?
The Whirlwind Axe.
Whirlwind Axe. That's it. Yeah. That's what I'm guessing.
Maybe.
But that didn't start in Arathi Highlands. That starts in Hillsbrad.
But the quest is in Harathi to kill the.
He said it starts.
elementals.
He said it starts in Arathi.
We'll see.
Right.
We'll see. I guess you just have to subscribe.
So if you are a part of the Classic WoW community, you don't know who Hamsterwheel is, get the hell over to his channel right now and subscribe.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
watch Underdog's rating. Watch the Nax videos. Some of the best. I'm gonna say right now, some of the best Classic WoW videos ever over on Hamsterwheel's channel.
Appreciate it. Watch the next video and count the lips.
Yeah, leave it in the comments. If you get it right, you'll get a free copy of I don't know of you can get this bottle of Snapple.
Half drank bottle of Snapple.
Yeah. Type in the amount of lip smacks and you'll get a free subscription.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Hamsterwheel, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. We will check you out next time. This is Defcamp signing off.
This is Melderon signing off, and our very special guest,
Hamsterwheel signing off too. Have a good one.
Peace.
Have a good one, guys. See you later.